Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As you can tell, I've not properly woken up yet. You can hear it in my voice. It's a bit croaky, a bit groggy, a wee bit tired, you could say. It's 10:30 in the morning. I'd just like to clear up something for people who might have seen this organised on the channel. For some reason, I had this scheduled for 10:30 this evening, 10:30 p.m. I meant 10:30 a.m. If you can't tell with me being live now. Good morning to everyone. Has anybody ever seen the film, Dancing in... No, Dancing, Singing in the Rain, sorry. Gene Kelly and so. Good morning. We danced the whole night through. That's what I was thinking of. But hello, nice to see you. I didn't stay up for the game last night. I didn't wake up for the game last night. I don't have that top cell in me. There was just absolutely no chance that I was waking up. And even if I did wake up, I reckon I fell asleep halfway through the game. I have caught up. I've seen what I've had to see. I've heard what I've had to hear. And I can sit down and now say, gladly, that I'm glad that I never woke up for it. There's no regrets. A 0-0 draw with Everton, which seen Celtic lose on penalties. It seems that Celtic can't hit a penalty. We're getting pretty used to this. I hate them. And I always complain that Celtic don't get penalties. But I'm actually glad that we don't, because it just seems like we don't enjoy hitting them, do we? So I'm glad I never stayed up at that time to see that. Let me know in the chat if you did stay up for it or you didn't. I've seen a lot of good mornings. Hello guys, nice for you to tune in at this time. I'm just going to have a wee bit of discussion about the game. When's the next FM episode out? If I have time to record after this, it'll be up tonight. If not tonight, it'll be tomorrow. But I'm hoping tonight. I'm not going to promise anything, but just keep an eye out on the channel. A 0-0 draw with Everton. By all accounts, it appears that Everton turned up and played a really disgusting brand of football. Frank Lampard was almost playing for the point, it seems, when there was no point to be won. But that wraps up Celtic's trip to Australia. Only the one goal scored. No wins, of course. Slightly disappointing, I'd imagine, for the... Well, do you know what? I was going to say slightly disappointing for the Australian fans. If there's any Aussies watching this, in the comments section or whatever, let me know how you felt about it. Still must have been fantastic. And by all accounts, I'm looking on Twitter, and the Aussie fans absolutely loved it. They had the chance to watch their team, Celtic coming over on a very rare visit. It's still, in terms of the football and the results, probably a little bit underwhelming, but still, I'd imagine the occasion itself would have been enough to kind of make up for it. But, a disappointing trip all round for Celtic. Of course, we didn't come home with the Sydney Super Cup. And Ange will obviously be slightly disappointed, considering the fact that, you heard these comments after the Sydney FC game, and imagine after the game this morning that it'll be much similar. Celtic, by all accounts, dominating the game, having big chances to win the game, and in similar fashion to how those Champions League games went, we just can't score. And it seems that is becoming more of an issue. And it's a weird issue to balance up, because you've either got one side of the argument where it's like, oh, we score for fun. We put 9 past Dundee United, we put such and such by. We score a load of goals, but then on the other side of things, when it comes down to the nitty gritty, we just can't seem to do it in the final third. And that seemed like a massive story of the game this morning. Abada, Kyogo being two of the kind of main names being... I didn't get to watch the 90 minutes. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I did, but they seem to be the two names who have stood out the most in terms of criticism for not taking their chances and not finishing it. And it's bringing up a lot of conversation, a lot of reaction as to where we go next, what happens next at Celtic. Now, one thing that I want us to be cautious about is the fact that this is a friendly. We have travelled 10,000 miles or whatever the journey is. It was never going to be games, I think, that were going to be littered with goals. But I can understand the concern, because in a way it's an extension of the problems that already exist. It is a friendly, and I'm not going to overreact or get too carried away. What matters is when we come back and we get back to the league fixtures. That's what matters the most. As long as we're scoring in those games and we're back to winning ways, then that's what matters most. But I can understand that the extension of the problems within the squad at the minute, not being able to score goals, comes in this game, and that's why people are getting worried. And maybe it is telltale signs. I don't know. We're going to talk about it all. Mostly this stream, I want it to be a discussion, because I never got to watch the game, so there's no point in me sitting here and pretending I did. But I want to have a discussion with you guys. Thank you for the donation, Ian. Morning, Ryan. 2 games without a win and his job under threat. Well, absolutely, Ian. Absolutely. I think that, we're talking about one more winless game away from the chop for Ange. I'm sure that he'll be gone in a matter of days. But thank you for the donation, Ian. It's nice to see you as always. Always nice to have you here in the streams. We'll go. I've seen a lot of great comments I want to pull up. A lot of things I want to talk about, so we'll do that. But the big question that has spawned from this game is, do we need to bring in another striker? That seems to be I woke up, loaded up Twitter this morning. I already see some comments in here that I'll try and, if you've got something you desperately want me to bring up, just keep spamming it because I will be able to get there eventually. But the one thing that seems to be the big topic is, do we need another striker? Should we add a new person into the mix? Somebody who's got that clinical touch to them, somebody who's going to score goals. Well, maybe we do. I've been saying for a while now, I think we were saying it in the summer transfer window that adding a third option wouldn't be a bad idea. Obviously it was never going to happen, but the main one during the summer window that folk were talking about was Jordan Larson because of his situation in Russia. People were, let's get Jordan Larson and let's bring him in. And I think that we were all open to the idea of a third striker. Then the season sort of started. Kyogo got off to a flyer. Giakoumakis was adding as well from coming off the bench in other games. And it kind of petered down a little bit. But I think through the Champions League group stage and now these friendlies, you could call it an overreaction, you could call it, and it's up to you what side of the fence you lie on there. But I don't think it would hurt to add another striker to Celtic. The quality is, we know it's, the quality, sorry. The problem is, it's not that easy to go out and get a goal-scoring striker at Celtic. It isn't a simple task. You're paying for a striker who scores on command. You're paying a hefty fee nowadays, and this transfer market, it's just very difficult to go out and sign someone who is going to deliver goals upon arrival. Now you look at Kyogo and Giakoumakis; they're kind of similar ages in the set. And Kyogo's 27, I think. Giakoumakis 25, 26. Is he that old? I think he is. I think that we'd have to shop younger. I think we'd have to go for someone who's probably, what comes to my head is a Moussa Dembele. Moussa Dembele was clinical. Moussa Dembele was a player, by the way, free contract this summer. But Moussa Dembele, for example, was very clinical. He scored goals on command, and he wasn't very wasteful. But we signed him when he was 18 years old. And he just got better and better with time. That's the similar sort of thing that I think we'd have to do if we wanted to bring in another striker, someone who's going to be more clinical. It is annoying, these wasted chances, especially when you're dominating a game against the likes of Everton. You want to be able to go and win that. You deserve to win it. You're playing well. The phases of play are looking good. And I've seen Kaiser put in a point about Ange being happy with how some of the play. We should be. But to break down these teams and to win these games, you need to be clinical in the final third. And if we're not getting that just now, then I can see the concern of, what do we do next? I can understand it. I'm trying not to overreact with a friendly game, but as I said, it comes as an extension to the problems that existed in the Champions League group stage. And I think it just kind of, it's like highlighting the problems that exist within the team at the moment. We are in a very good place, and I don't think we need to panic. We don't have to worry anything like that, but I guess it is a conversation to be had. Apart from that, Rio Hatate apparently had a fantastic game. He was really good, apparently. Apparently, I'm throwing up. And Tony Ralston, I heard, had a good game as well. But yeah, Frank Lampard out playing for the point, as I said at the start of it. And penalties not our forte. Giakoumakis once again missing a penalty. I think that we should come to the conclusion that Giakoumakis takes time off of penalties for a bit. Let's leave Giakoumakis off the penalties for a while. As much as I love him, let's let him get his confidence back with the spot kicks before we throw him back on them. Can we get a dedicated penalty coach, says Dr. Max. Maybe that's the way forward. Maybe that is the case. But anyway, what I wanted to do with this stream is turn it into a bit of a discussion. I want to get your guys, I'm going to let you dictate the next sort of 10, 20 minutes, however long we go here. 100 odd viewers, thank you. It's an early morning shift, this. It felt great, because last night, hold on, let me take a sip. Last night we went out for dinner, me and my mates. We went for it was my pal's birthday, so story time. We went for a deli darber. If you know the deli darber up in Bishop Briggs. We went up there. Is it Bishop Briggs? It's Bishop Briggs, isn't it? Went to Deli Darber. Fantastic, lovely. But it sent me in my bed, man. I was in my bed last night, 12 o'clock, midnight. I'm never in my bed for that time. Midnight. 9 hours sleep. Brilliant. I feel great. But this is like I love this. It's a lovely wee morning shift, a wee chill one. But aye, brilliant. Anyway, I'm getting carried away. I want you guys to dictate where we go throughout this stream. And we're going to do that. I want to give a shout out to Kaiser very quickly on the channel, who last night took part in the sleep out at Celtic Park. Of course, the charity event where folk go along to Celtic Park and they get to sleep out and they raise a lot of money. And Kaiser took part in that. Fantastic stuff. Big shout out to him. He said, "Good morning, legend. I've been up since yesterday. Enjoyed the game in paradise. It made me so cold looking at people in the sunshine." I know the fans looked as though in Australia looked as though they were having a cracking time with it. It was what I'm saying is, the game was probably the performances were probably a little bit disappointing. Over the course of the two games for waiting and anticipating this for so long, but it still looked as though they had a cracking time. They looked like they were out in their numbers, and it's good for them. And to be honest, I enjoyed it. Just before I get into your points, one thing I want to say to kind of wrap up everything, as I really enjoyed the whole thing around this Sydney Super Cup, and I hope it becomes more of a regular sort of thing. And I know that we're never going to get the opportunity to head over in the middle of December again. This is unique because the World Cup break is on, and then that's just never going to really happen. But what we can say is, if we ever get the opportunity again in the pre-season or in a winter break to head over, I think we should take it, because it's good to get them involved. It's good to keep them connected to the club, even post Ange Postecoglou, to keep these guys as invested in Celtic as you would like to keep us invested in Celtic. They are fans. They are fans now. The Australian boys are Celtic fans. And I like especially the other morning. I mean, I didn't get up for the game this morning, but yeah, it was fantastic. I really enjoyed it, the whole thing. And now Celtic go off for a 10-day break, which is well deserved. I mean, with the way that we've played in the opening portion of this campaign, well deserved. I think they meet up after that for another warm weather training camp. Portugal, I believe. I'm taking this from John from 67 Hail Hail. I believe it's Portugal. And we'll have a friendly game as well. But yeah, another donation from Ian. What a legend, mate. Thank you. I appreciate that. Jota was the best player on the pitch. Oh, well, okay. Nice. Jota having a good game. I like to hear that. But thank you. I appreciate it, Ian. Now, let's have a discussion. Oh, Martin Boyle has dropped out of the Australia World Cup squad. Breaking news there. Hibs winger Martin Boyle. I know that anybody cares here, but he's out of the Australia World Cup squad. Just talking about Australia. Wow. Kind of a shame. I hate seeing players, like Karen Benzema, the news came out yesterday. It's always a shame. Right, let's get some of your points up. What top am I wearing? I'm wearing a Germany number. 1992 or something, maybe. I can't remember off the top of my head. Germany number. I've got strange. Just get your comments in, guys. I'll let you kind of dictate the conversation for the remainder of the stream. It's like a morning talk show, isn't it? I'm like, what's his name? Eamon Holmes or something. I hope he's not surrounded by any controversy. I just picked the first morning talk show host I could think of. I remember he done the what's it called? The Brendan Rodgers, Danny McGrain night thing. Remember? Anyway, morning fellas. I watched the game and it was impressive. We completely dominated Everton, but for a cheeky couple of moments in transition. Better finishing, it could have been 6-2, but great all round. Yeah, I heard that Everton were very much relying on their counter-attack to kind of make anything in the game. As kind of expected. Look, listen, I didn't expect them to come and park the bus the way they did. I didn't expect them to sit so many men behind the ball because, well, they're a good side in terms of they've got a good squad there. It's a friendly. They're not playing for anything. It's meaningless. And Super Frank, Fat Frank, obviously. The thing is, Everton are just a weird team, aren't they? Because they've fell drastically over the past couple of years. And Celtic should be beating them, and I think that the stats will show that we probably should have this morning, and it just probably didn't happen. But anyway, the fans overseas deserve more. They're amazing, says Kaz. Absolutely. What's this? Everyone, do you think Abada is pronounced Abada or Abada? Because the commentator in Australia was using Abada. I can't even tell the difference between the two. I need to hear you say it, Dr. Max, but I just call him Abada. We got Abada, he's in the wing. Let's see. What else? Let's see. Lazy young man should have been up. Listen, not many things get me up at 3:45. Not many. Celtic should be one of the few things that get me up at 3:45, but they didn't. I don't think that I could have done it, to be honest, and I'm glad looking at the result that I didn't. To be honest, I fell asleep at half time with a tube of Pringles all over me. Christ, Evelyn. I hope your like bed isn't full of crumbs now. There's nothing worse. There is absolutely nothing worse. Let's see. Yeah, I've heard the chat. I think we've done a video talking about the links with the Japanese boy. I'm not entirely sure. Disappointed about the missed chances. Also disappointed the way Everton played, said Alistair. I think if you were in... There has been a lot of... This is a genuine talking point. Do you know who I asked to come in this live stream this morning? Big Harry Hesketh. I asked him. It was the Harry Hesketh derby last night, for fuck's sake. But, if you were an Everton fan right now, I wonder how you feel about things, because I've seen a mixed sort of, throughout the Premier League season, I've seen a sort of mixed reaction of Everton fans trying to back Frank Lampard and then some just want them gone altogether. I've seen a sort of mixed reaction, but it must not bode very well as an Everton fan to go and watch a Premier League side. How often do we hear about these my nan could beat Celtic, blah, 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 Premier League this, Premier League that, Scottish is shit, blah, blah, fair enough, you have your opinions, but for then, a Premier League... And let's not beat around the bush here. Everton are one of the biggest clubs in Premier League history. They're one of the only 6 that have never been relegated from the Premier League. They are one of the biggest sides in the English Premier League. And they turn up to a friendly game in Australia against us, and they park the bus, play 10 behind the ball. They're on a little bit of a shaky peg, Everton, this season. They could very easily go down. But as an Everton fan, I wonder how that makes you feel. I don't know if there's any Everton fans in here. I don't know if there is. I doubt there is. But that this morning, mixed with how the campaign has went so far, it can't go down very well. I think the problem with Kyogo and Gigi at the moment is that neither are getting a good run of games. I'd love to see a settled team for a few weeks. I remember someone bringing up this point last year on the channel. There was a point last season where someone brought up that we needed to have a more settled team and we had to have a more settled striker. And then it was one of those ones that once goals returned to them, it became very quiet and I never heard that again. And I think that's just the issue with that, when someone does well, they're the best in the world, and then it's hard to balance it, I think. And I think it's hard for us to find balance in our team in terms of form and opinion as well from the fans. I get it. I kind of would like that to happen. I think in a perfect world, you have a striker who starts every game, and they are your first choice. But it's hard for Celtic to do that because we've got 2 strikers who deserve to play football, haven't we? And that's the problem with us at the moment. But it's a point, I guess, everybody will have a different opinion to it. But it's a point to consider. Let's see. Any talk of new players? Sorry, my throat's just suddenly escaped me, it seems. Any talk of new players coming in? Squad need a few new faces for the start after Christmas. Obviously, we've been linked with... I see a lot of chat about I can't remember his name now off the top of my head, but it was a Japanese lad, and he was a centre-half, wasn't he? So there's talk of a Japanese centre-half coming in. Apart from that, there's not been any names... or really any positions discussed thoroughly. There's nothing there concrete enough to suggest that it will happen, but there will definitely be signings in January, and I think there'll be exits. But there will be. I think we'll make 2 or 3 signings in January. I really do. So I'd expect people to come out. Benzema's out for France versus Australia. I've got a bit of news for you, Dr. Nax. Benzema's out for the whole tournament. He's gone. He's out the squad. He's not going to be competing in any of the games. So it's not just Australia we're missing. It'll be the whole thing. Let's see. Wouldn't have woken if I didn't need a piss either, to be honest. Yeah, I'm glad that I never woke up. I must admit, I love Celtic. Mate, is Kyogo ever going to score a goal? Can't even in the Farmers League. Oh my God. Right, okay, calm down. He's already got quite a few this season, lad. I think we're okay. Let's see. What else is there? Let's see. Everton didn't even have a shot on target, says LT135. Wow. Got an Everton friend, says Andrew K. They said it felt like they just used it as a prep for the rest of the season. Yeah, to be honest, I can understand if Frank Lampard is going to be playing a specific system for the rest of this season, which must be torture. I feel sorry for Everton fans, I really do, but it's the way that they've depleted badly. The squad has got to a level. The squad was, if you go back 5 years, Everton have spent big. They brought in some huge players and they've all flopped. And now they're at a point where the squad is beyond repair, it seems. So I don't blame them having to play like that in a week to week basis in the Premier League, especially the Barclays Premier League. There, what year am I living in? In the Premier League, I don't blame them. So I guess that it's the same thing as Ange playing in Europe, isn't it? He's not going to change his system if it's not the system that we would play. We're not going to change. So maybe that's the reason Frank didn't change. And if it's prep for the rest of the season, then fair enough. Have I caught Ange's cough? Maybe I have. Moussa Dembele or Ronaldo, do you think we'll sign them, Ryan? I have a slight feeling the answer is no. Slight feeling. A Zweite Bundesliga striker. I can't think of any off the top of my head. Who's in the Zweite Bundesliga this season? Which strikers are... Who's the top scorer on the Zweite Bundesliga? Probably not, though. No, I don't think that the Zweite Bundesliga has strikers that are the required level. I must be honest. Let's see. Players. Who's top scorer? Who is top scorer so far? Robert Gletzel of Hamburg. He's got 11 goals already. Steven Skabowski, playing for Holstein Kiel. Robin Hack. I like Robin Hack. I don't think he's a striker, though. He plays for Arminia Bielefeld. Yeah, Robin Hack's a good player, but I don't think he's a striker. I think he's a winger. He's got 8 goals anyway. No Bundesliga, no Zweite Bundesliga striker, sadly, Dr. Knight. It's none that are good enough for Celtic. Let's see. What else is there? What else? I'd bring in a 21 or 22-year-old up front, hopefully see a few players. McCarthy leave, and a young lad's brought in for squad players. Now, one thing is, I don't think McCarthy's going to leave because he's injured, so anybody, he'd fail any medical probably. If he's got a significant injury, he's got to be stuck at Celtic for a little while unless we terminate his contract, and I don't think we would do that. I think that's a bit cold, to be quite honest, unless James McCarthy said, yeah, listen, terminate my contract. I don't think that'll happen, but we will see players leave. And as I said, yeah, I think I have to shop in a younger market for a striker. We need to sign someone who's going to just get better and better, but also has that ability when they first come in. Genuinely, like Dembele, like behind me, Dembele, someone like him, not literally Moussa Dembele, but like someone who's in that similar position where they came in and they delivered and they were clinical and they just got better as their age went on. I think that's the kind of market that we're going to have to shop in. We are brilliant at not taking chances. Alistair saying we are vulnerable to counter-attacks. Any better team than Everton, and they would have scored at least 2 with their chances. Well, we've seen that firsthand. Shakhtar Donetsk in both legs at Celtic Park and in Poland. We were all over them for the vast majority of the games. But on the counter-attack, they were lethal. And that's where they got their goals. So we've seen that firsthand. We know that it's fact. It's not, it's not overreaction. It's fact. We are vulnerable to counter-attack. And if it's a good team, they're going to score. Look at that. Forgot his name now. Mudryk. What a shot. Shouldn't have went in. It defied all logic. But that's what all it takes. Quality on the counter. But yeah. Right. I think that might be us. Why are you sporting a Germany shirt, mate? I love Germany. I thought that everybody on the channel knew that by now. I thought all the subscribers knew that I loved Germany. I love Germany. I saw I want to win the World Cup, so it's my favourite country, mate. Favourite country. Are you still planning up one TSF1? We'll be back one day, I hope. Well, I'll be back anyway. I don't know about the rest of them. Yeah. Right, okay. I'm going to end the stream there because my mum and dad are back for chapel, which means my breakfast is going to be put on. But thank you for joining me on this cold and frosty Sunday morning. Enjoy our day of sports. The World Cup starts tonight. The F1 season ends this afternoon. So a good day of sport. I'll be out enjoying it in the streets of Glasgow. Well, not literally in the streets. I'll be out in Glasgow watching all the events. But yeah, thank you. Hope you enjoyed. We'll be back on the channel hopefully tonight if I have time to make an FM video. If not, I'll be back tomorrow. But keep your eyes out. Appreciate it. Thank you all for joining me this morning. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.